Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in once again. So in this video, we're going to do a little airbrushing, a little get the airbrush out of the box type video. This is just going to be a beginner type thing. What's it like when I first get it out of the box? That's what we're going to go with in this video. Just the basics. I'm talking basic. So the biggest question I get asked is it, I don't want to clean, how hard is it to clean it? Do you have to tear it all apart every time? Is it just wipe the cup out? I mean, what do you do? The questions are unlimited. But it's all on how much you're using it and color changes and whatnot. So I don't tear mine down, but it's maybe once every 2 weeks before I'd actually do a tear it up. Maybe once a month. I mean, it's pretty rare. Most of the time I can just wipe the cup out. You're good to go. If you're doing like black and a different color black and a little different color black, kind of like my little demonstration I did, I didn't clean that airbrush out hardly at all with that, doing that video between color changes. It was just a couple shots of thinner. Good to go. We were good to go. Now, if you're doing color changes from a dark color to a light color, you might want to spend a little more time cleaning it just to make sure. So, point in case, I'm working on my GTP Mustang, right? Obviously, it's white. The bottom is blue. So what happened? I had the blue painted. It is sitting in the Suzy Bake Oven. It looks fantastic. I thought, yes, that looks great. And I had this already painted white. And I'm looking at it, and every time I come out here, I'm looking at it. It just looks gray. Because I put it on the gray primer, which, no big deal. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to shoot that with white primer. I'm going to let it sit. And I'm going to put it in the oven. Well, in the meantime, I grabbed the blue, the bottom of the car. I'm coming over here. I thought, I'll do some decals on it. No big deal. The story has meaning to it. I'm getting there. Hold on. Stick with me. So anyways, I bring it over here and I thought, man, the color just don't look right. It looks too bright. It's not that darker, deep sea blue, like it's supposed to be. So I get my ISMA Mustang out I did a while back and I'm comparing like, oh yeah, this is the wrong color. I thought, what am I, an idiot? Yeah, I probably am. So I'm looking through my MCW stash here and I thought, oh, I grabbed the wrong color. I thought, are you kidding me? I'm telling on myself here. So both of the colors are called dark blue. I knew it was dark blue. One's called dark blue, one's called dark blue glossed. I thought, okay, but they got different part numbers and they are definitely different color. So no big deal. Wet sand it down a little bit and we go through and paint, back in the oven. Oh, it's looking fantastic. Awesome. So I go through a little cleaned it up pretty good. And I thought, you know what? Now that's in there, I'm going to repaint the white on this. Well, in hindsight, I should have painted the white first and then went to the blue. So what happened, and this is why sometimes you need to break that brush down and clean it. So what happened, I'm painting this, is looking good. This thing's looking fantastic. So as I get done with it, I'm almost done, and I thought I'll do one more round because I had a little bit of paint left in the cup. And I thought, no, I hate wasting it, but I dump a lot of out. And it ends up shooting a couple blue spots on the front. It must have been in the gun somewhere. And I thought, okay. Yeah, so back in the oven it goes, bake it out. Now we're to this point where it's wet sanded, and now I gotta do it again. So in this video, I'm gonna show you a quick teardown of an airbrush, just a real quick, real quick on what to clean and how to clean it real cheap and easy, and all that good stuff, and why we're doing it. So I have an airbrush on the bench that's a little sticky, and I got one that's super clean. And I know when you first get one, you take it out of the box like, oh, this thing's so cool and pretty. Like, I don't want to use it, but I'm telling you, it gets dirty fast, especially if you're a sloppy painter. Kind of like I'm a sloppy painter. I admit it. There's paint all over the floor. That's the way it is. We're getting it done. I don't have time to. Okay, that's just me. But anyways, that's how we do it. And I will take you over to the bench, and we're going to show you real quick on how to do this. So, I'm not knocking the rattle can, guys. I'm not, because I was that guy for a long time. And every blue moon, I'll still hit up a can of primer, and because it's quick, and I get it. I get it why guys do it. A, it's very economical. B, it's super quick. And C3 or whatever, C3PO, there is no cleanup in the end. It's just put the cap on the can. Hey, you're done. Airbrushing is a little more to it. That is the downside, but you will get a superb finish over a can any day. I'm talking any day. all day long. Yes, you can make a can job look amazing. I've done it. I've done a lot of builds here with cans, and they look fantastic. But you do get that little extra little kiss under the sun there with the airbrush. It does look a little nicer. I'm gonna say that it's more controlled. That's the thing. And most of the paints are made for models, you know, versus some cans it's like, whoops, the hood just sunk in and melted, or like, oh, it ate the, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so there's big differences. And the other thing too, if you don't have a paint booth, you almost need one for that airbrush, because the airbrush kind of atomizes the air a little bit more, the paint molecules, and you get a lot more smell to it. So like I say, the aerosol can, you shoot, you're done. Airbrushing, it's a little more like, okay, and then now we got to clean it. So now you run a little thinner through it, blah blah. So you're doubling the smell basically. So that is the other side of it. But all said and done, I think the airbrush is such the better way to go. So let's say in this video, before you guys get any further, get the airbrush out of the box, open the box up. I know it's still in the box. I know it's still in the box for you guys that haven't used it yet. Get your compressor hooked up. Use a tire, whatever you gotta do for air. I don't care. And have Donnie blow on it or something like that. Just whatever you gotta do. And let's go to the bench, and I will show you a real quick tear down on one. And I'll show you one that's sticky and needs to be tore down, and why you would need to tear it down, because we're getting to that point. So let's take you over the bench, and let's get started and do a little tear down, a little quick, just a quick demonstration, just to put it in your hand, just to get going on it. Once you guys get going on it, you'll never go back. I'm telling you, it's I love airbrushing. I think it's fun, and let's go to the bench. All right, guys, welcome back to the bench. So we got a couple airbrushes we're going to go over. Just kind of fit everybody's needs and what they may have. This is kind of your basics here. So first, I want to show you guys a real quick clip of a video of this airbrush that is like nasty. It's sticking, it's not working good. I was using it right up to the end, and I think, okay, it's thinking it's spraying good. I'm being lazy, not cleaning it. This is like worst case scenario. Just showing you how all these break down if they're really, really bad. Because sometimes you'd be like, I can't get this thing apart. Well, I'll show you the gruffness of it to pulling it apart. So take a quick look at this clip, and shame on me, I should have cleaned it earlier, but hey, it made it, it survived. It's the same one that's in this box. So take a quick look at this, and I'll bring you back. That's the 0.0. It's nasty looking. It's like, dang, dude, don't you ever clean that? No, I don't. Not very often. So it's rough looking, right? So right now, you can see the needle. I push it down, see how it sticks. So this needs to be cleaned. A lot of times I'll go to pull it back and it'll stick, and it'll go back real slow. And what that is because it needs the needle cleaned out. So in order to clean this, so this is the valve in the front. So your needle sits inside here, and this other part, your needle slides through here. So this one needs to be cleaned. I'm not going to tear this one apart, because sometimes you got to get a little aggressive with them to get them apart. I usually take them apart, and the other thing I'll do is a lot of times I'll pull this needle out. So this here, you can see it's stuck. I can't get it out of there. Just like I say, because it needs to be cleaned. I can see right there, there's all kinds of gunk in there, because this has been cleaned in a long time. So I actually take pliers, because I don't know any other way to get it out. And you want to loosen this here. And then you can take this here, and I know some guys are probably, oh, don't do that. It comes out hard. So you see how hard that come out? That tells you this thing has not been cleaned in a long time. Yeah. So check that out. And I tell you what, guys, I reef on these a lot, and these needles take a lot to, I mean, you gotta be pretty harsh on them to bend it. But so we'll go through and clean that up. We're not gonna do this one right now, because yeah, that's another day. But you can see all that gunk in there. That's why this don't want to go down. There's gunk in here inside this valve. So that's the purpose. You want to clean it when you get to looking like this. This one needs to be cleaned, but I will probably still go through and use it. See, I can't even hardly get that back in there because it's so gunked up. So we'll probably clean this before I get too much further. So we're just going to put this in here, like so, and we're just going to leave it on the side for right now. It needs attention. So that's a dirty one. That's what they look like when they get dirty. But you see, my cup is always clean. My cup is clean. The outside is nasty. Yeah, that was fun, right? So I basically just sat off the side and we moved on. I was going to do a cleaning video on it, but I don't know what happened to the other footage of it. So here we are back at the bench, and I'm going to show you guys what do you get in the box and what's all these pieces for? What's all the extra stuff you get? So we're going to open these two up. These two are similar. This is my Iwata. This is my kind of go-to for my color for enamels. I use this mainly for enamel paint. This is kind of my go-to. So Iwata, you open it up, you get a little instruction sheet. It says, hey, welcome, you bought a gravity feed airbrush. Quick start guide. Beginning, paint, start airbrushing. Simple as that. That's all there is in there. They give you a little bit of cleaning instructions, unless you know this kind of language here. Yeah, I missed a few classes, so I'm not sure what that says. You also have, Iwata gives you a little test sheet, basically saying, hey, we used your airbrush, and this is what it'll do. Okay, cool. Works great. So you don't get a lot in this one because this kit here, with this particular model, you don't get any extra needles or nothing like that because this is supposed to be a one and done. This is a HP-C Plus by Iwata, made in Japan. So all the cool stuff's made, right? Okay, so we got another one here. This one here, this one's an Amazon special, made in China. And this is a 0.0. So this is obviously a kind of a least expensive one. This one works great. I've had this now for 2 years. It's starting to slowly give me some problems. I've had this probably a year, but it's starting to show its kind of breakdown a little bit. But you know what? I'll buy this again all day long because I think I paid like 30 bucks for this on Amazon. And this one I've seen range between 159 to 225 or something like that, and I think we give around the 190ish mark, maybe. I don't know. That was a while back. I think it was COVID prices. I'm not sure. Wife surprised me with it one day, so I was grateful for that. So it's been a great airbrush. Love it. I can't go wrong with that. But this one here, like I say, for 30 bucks, it's been a great workhorse. It's been amazing. So we're going to dive into this one quick and show you what you get in the box, because I know a lot of you guys have this airbrush. It may not look 100% like this, but it's very similar, just a little different. So to start with, this airbrush comes with a bunch of stuff which is landed in the bottom of the box now. So when you open the box up, you get a bunch of goodies, and you're thinking, man, what is all this stuff for? So you get a pretty simple instruction sheet, operation, maintenance, and general information. It's not a lot there. Gives you a breakdown of all the goodies inside. Gives you a parts call out. I don't know why, because you don't get nothing with it, and it's pretty much impossible to get parts for it. Like I said, I just go buy another one if something happens to it. They're kind of throwaways, if you know, my opinion. So per the paperwork, it comes with a 0.2 millimeter, a 0.25 millimeter, and a 0.3 millimeter. So when you first get these, a lot of times they give you the shortest millimeter, the smallest diameter inside, which come with a 2. So you get extra needles. So they give you a 2.5 and a 3. So right now I have the 3 in here. So the 0.2 is in the 3 container. So in order to change that, you have to change this air cap, the tip nozzle, which they give you extra ones here. And each one of these will fit one of these needles. Obviously, when it was in the case, it come with that. So you can see this says 0.3, and this one says 0.25, so it tells you the 2 was already in the airbrush. And then they give you a little fancy wrench. So these other pieces, these are really cool. These are quick connects. I bought these off Amazon. If you guys do a lot of airbrushing, these are a must. They are well worth the money. They're not that much money to start with. You're under $20, I believe, and it gives you a whole pack of them. So these are nice because you thread this on your air hose for your gun, and boom, you click it on, you got air. It's just like an automotive air chuck. Works great. So when you want to go to airbrush, I got them on this one, so it don't matter if I'm going here, if I want to go to this guy. I'm universal, everything fits. I do not have one for this guy, so this takes a special one. I got to get one ordered. I see Hobby Nut Model sells one. I got to get with Mark and get one of those, because I do like this one every once in a while. So real quick on this one, we're going back to this one again. So you get this airbrush. We're just going to talk about this one for right now. We'll move these out of the way. So when you get this airbrush, it comes with, I told you that, 2.2 millimeter needle. So you say, okay, I want to change it to a different size. So I'll show you how easy that is on these. They're very easy. So first off, you're going to do is remove this. Just unthread this. Nothing to it. You pull that guy off there. This is a lock nut. So as you pull the needle back, you can see that the needle goes with it. So this lock nut holds the needle tight to this arbor here, this piece here. So you take the needle, you slide it out, and you can see it's still a little dirty. I got to do a little more cleaning on it. And then you're going to do is you're going to change the nozzle tip. So this one here, you're going to replace the whole thing because this will come apart. So you take that off. Simple, nothing to it. So say you wanted to put the 2.5. You're going to take the 2.5 nozzle piece and thread in here, and take the 2.5 needle and slide in. So say this was the 2.5. You can slide this back in here, thread it back down. Piece of cake, easy. You flip this around, you can put the needle back in it. And when you put the needle in, you don't want to come on, because you can bend that. These needles are pretty tough. So you want to just real careful, line that up. And it should slide in real easy, just real easy, just nothing to it. So if you have a problem sliding this in and out of there, you got issues somewhere. So I do is I take this and hit it until it goes in, just a little tap. And what you're doing is you're seating that needle into the front of this air cap in the front. So you do that, and then you lock this back down, and you just change your needle size in your airbrush. Simple as that. And there you go. So you got a couple adjustments on this. So we're going to put this back on. Now remember guys, this is the cheap $30 one you get off Amazon. Get this threaded back on here. So you got, this airbrush has 2 adjustments. Very simple. This first of all is a MAC valve. And what this is, it gives you a fine air adjustment. So if I have this threaded all the way up, and if you take this off, it's all it is just a stem. And it just goes up into the airport. So it goes up in here into the kind of the where the air flows, and it blocks it off. So now if I hit the air, it would give me nothing. But as I turn this, it'll slowly start bleeding the air out. So I leave mine wide open. That gives me full air volume, just what I need. So most times I never ever touch this. There's no reason to, because we're painting model cars, right? Now on the other hand, this adjustment here, this adjustment's nice because this controls your needle, how far the needle goes back, which gives you more paint. So this is in neutral position. You press this down, there's air. Now if you just pull this back, you're not going to get nothing. You have to hit air to make it work. So you go air, and then as you pull it back, the further back you go, the more paint you're going to get. So as you see, this is coming back and it's hitting the stop. So right now, I open this a little more. Let's give me full throttle. Let's give me the full blast of paint. So if you don't want to go full blast of paint, let's go all the way in with it. Now if I go all the way in, you can't even move it. Now it's locked in. So you back it off just a little bit. And now it's giving you about half throttle. I like to keep mine wide open. That way it gives me full control. I got full air, full paint throttle. So that gives me all the way back. And I have complete control of what I want to do. Versus, to me, this is like training wheels, you know, like, let's put these on. But once you got it in your hand, you're using it for a little bit. It takes a little bit to get used to it. I mean, it's not just like using an aerosol can and it takes a little coordination and go with it. So other than that, that's it. There's nothing else to these. So they're very simple, very basic. So this is a dual action. Dual action meaning the first time I press this down, that's air. And then as you pull it back, as I mentioned before, that's paint. So that gets you dual action. There's 1, 2. So the one thing I like about these versus a single stage is the idea that I'm pressing down so I can hear it, but I can slowly feed it back with paint. Versus a single stage, it's paint. Paint. You can ease it down, but it's not as easy as this. So that's basically the simple principles of this airbrush. There's nothing else to it. So we're going to move on to the Iwata. We're going to mention these guys here in a minute. So the Iwata, very nice airbrush. Like I say, I love this thing. This one doesn't come with no needles. There's nothing. So this comes with I believe it's a 0.3 millimeter needle. It's generally just an all-arounder, and you get a little bottle of pretty much oil or like a lube. So you get that, and then you get a wrench. The other one give you a wrench as well. So I'll show you in this kit what the wrench is for, and it's very simple. So we're going to do a real quick breakdown of this. So when you get to that point like this one did, I showed you early in the video, this is how you're going to clean it. So it's real simple, easy, cheap to clean. That's all you do is get a little bit of thinner. And I put a little thinner in one of my mixing cups, and I'll put all the components in there. So to start tearing this down, I just start real simple. I take the Schrader valve off. So this is the valve that pushes this up and down. So that everything just on threads real easy. So this is the spring. So there's a little spring in there. This is your Schrader valve that gives you air. It's kind of like a valve on your tire in your car. So that valve, that spring there pushes that needle up and down. So once you get that off, you can unthread the cap. And this is the same setup as the other one. You twist this for your volume. Same thing. So we're going to pull this off. We're going to take the lock nut off. I'm just going to undo it completely. And at this point, we can pull the needle out. Now you can either go one of two ways. You can take this off first. It doesn't matter. So we're going to take this off. Take your air cap off. Now, if you wanted to, and I don't do this every time, this is where the wrench comes in. You see this little guy in the end? This little guide here? That wrench fits in there and it takes that guide off for you. So it's very, very small. And that's all it is right there. So you'll get a little bit of paint buildup in there, and it's basically a guide for the needle. So I'm going to put this back on right now so I don't lose it. But if I'm cleaning it, this will come off and I'll put it in my little jar of thinner and call it good. Okay, so we get that back on. Line our little wrench up here. And when you put this back on, you don't have to kill it. You don't have to like crank it down. Obviously you can see it's very small. You just go just a little torque, and that's it. Just a little touch. That's what the wrench is for. So now last thing you can do is take this here's for your spring return for the trigger, and that's just a matter of taking this off. And then all these airbrushes, they come apart almost identical to each other. They're very similar for this style, I should say. So you can pull this off. That's just a little barrel there. You have a spring. Then this guy comes out, and that's all that is. So now once that's out, you can take this button out, and on this particular one, it has a little clevis it sits into. And that's pretty much it. That's as far as you're going to go tearing it down. Now, once you get it down to tear it apart, there's little tools you can buy. They got these little cleaning tools you can pick up. I bought these with that other airbrush. You know, Amazon does. Customer recommended. They also purchased this. And I saw that and I think, well, that's a good idea. I'll get that. Great recommendation, Amazon. So I got these guys. So you got the cleaning pipes, and then these pieces here. These basically just twisted braided wire. So what you do with these, you just take these in. You can follow the hole where the needle goes and just work that back and forth. Clean everything out, different sizes. You can do the same thing with these. Go in, clean everything, clean down in here, what have you. Those are pretty nice to have. They're very, very inexpensive. So now you got everything soaked, you got everything cleaned, wiped out real good. So you basically just a real quick put back together. It's kind of like you guys in the military were taking your rifles apart. It's just something you can do in your sleep. Once you take this apart a few times, because sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're taking it apart. This is all the parts that you're really going to take apart. That's pretty much it. You can go a little further and take, I don't actually know on this one, this will come off now. You can take this out, but you're getting tools out to break it down a lot further. And then you have your spring in here for your valve. And this is where the lube would go right here. You just put a drop of lube. You can see there's an O-ring inside there. There's a little O-ring on top. So that's all there is for pretty much maintenance for that is that. So we start with putting this back together. Very easy. So the button has a front and a back. You can see that's a different style curve there. And on this particular model, you just take this and you twist it sideways to drop it in. But before I put this in, I'm going to put this in first. And the reason I'm doing this is so I'll know I have the trigger in properly. So I get that in first. Now I can put this in. So I just take this, go a little sideways, flip it around, drop it in the little clevis. And I know it's in because now it has spring tension from the valve down here. Easy as can be, right? So other than that, you take this guy here. This is your kind of like the push rod for the spring. So you see this piece here? That's basically sits in here. This is a guide, it's a channel. So you just flip that forward, line that up in there, goes in real easy. Bring that up to the top and just leave it lay there. After that, take this little spring, slide it on top there, slide this barrel on. Spring goes inside, threads in. Easy, easy. You take this and lock it all the way down. You don't have to kill it, just finger tight. And now you got your trigger back. Just like that. See, that's pretty easy, isn't it, guys? So other than that, you take and put your air cap back on. Thread this back on. And it's pretty good material. I mean, you'd have to be pretty hard pressed to strip it out, so I wouldn't worry about taking it apart and, oh, I'm not mechanical inclined. It's not like that. I mean, these are pretty basic. And like I showed you on the other airbrush, you don't want to jam this in there. Take your time, line that needle up. And like I say, it should drop in there real easy without any pressure. And that'll seat against here. Pretty simple. Once again, you take your little lock cap, put on here. Crank this down, and you don't have to kill it, just snug it. And there you go. You got a nice working airbrush. Nice, clean. Throw this back tail piece on. And once again, if you need to, you shouldn't have to. This is your adjustment for your paint control. Because like I say, the same thing here. The further back you go, the more paint you're going to get. So easy to tear down. Nothing to it. So that's all there is for these. These are pretty clean and easy. These are more my favorite over this style. And I'll tell you the difference I like about this over this. I like these better because it's easier to clean this cup because it's just right here. And when you're cleaning the cup, you're cleaning the front of the airbrush. That's pretty much basically it for this. So this here, this is a dual action. So what this is doing, there's a straw in here. It's sucking the paint up out of the jar. So basically this is the same thing. That's just a little cap on there. This is a little more bigger, robust. This has a 0.05 in it, so it's got a big boy needle in it. This thing will lay down some pretty heavy paint. So you take this off. There's the only thing in here is to take this off is to remove the needle. So same thing as that. Crack this loose, the needle slides out. Tighten it back down, and there you go. So this same thing, you thread this out. It's got a spring in there, just like the other ones. So usually you don't have to take this off unless you're cleaning it. So this little piece here, this basically is your paint control. And that's all there is for adjustment on this. So it's really nothing. So I like my other ones. I just leave it all wide open. And these are just kind of like a friction fit. That's all they are. So they just put them on and they stay on there. They don't fall off. Now this particular model come with a bunch of accessories. It came with an extra longer. It had a bigger glass jar, which I have out there. Everything's kind of dirty. I haven't cleaned it in a while. And this one come with an extra needle. And you can see the needle is still in its wax. They give you like a little wax thing in here. So you get that, and then you get extra nozzles, spray tips, the whole 9 yards. And you can tell it's pretty old. I haven't really had to change anything out. And on this model, you also get the cup that goes on the side. So I'm sure you guys have seen these before. You maybe have one. You just throw the cup in there, and there you go. It's similar to that at that point. The really plus about this, and of course it gives you a little wrench here to tear it all apart. So the real plus about these is that you get a lot more volume for spraying. Other than that, I bought a screen for this. So you got a straw, and then you got your cap, obviously. So you got to clean all this, clean that, clean the straw, clean the glass jars. There's a little gasket in there, I'll clean that. And then you're cleaning up inside here, making sure this is all clean. But you're basically running thinner through here. It's not that bad of a deal. It's just more time consuming. It's not that hard at all. It's just, to me, it's just a little bit more, but they do clean relatively the same amount of time. This is just a little bit extra just because you got to clean the jar. So other than that, this is the dual action, just like these. Now we got the last one here. This is my very first airbrush. This is a single action. This is made by Sears. This one's a Pache, if I didn't mention that. This is a VL series. This is a Sears. You can see Sears stamped in it, but this is basically a Badger. Badger airbrush. This one's very, very simple, very basic. And like I said, this is a single stage. So when you press this down, you got one hit. It's paint. Paint. That's all you get. Same thing, friction fit. You unthread the jar. You got a straw in there. You can see where it sucks it up. Another siphon feed. So this one here, you take the nozzle out, or the tip off here. There's nothing in there. It's just a paint cap. You can take this off and to clean it. And for adjustment on this one, you just have pretty much two adjustments. This here is your paint control. So as you roll this, it moves the needle back. Kind of the same as you're doing here. So the more you spray it back, pull it back, that's basically what this is. It's just pulling the needle back. But it just stays there. So when you pull this down, it'll be like doing this here. You know, with that wide back, all the way back. So it has its plus and minus. This is great if you're doing primer, stuff like that. But the only downfall to this one only has, I believe it's a 0.2 needle. So you loosen the thing up here and the needle comes out. You can see how small that is. Now, if you ever want to know what most of these needles are, if you look on the very end, they have notches in there. Some brands will notch this. This has 2 notches in it. So for this particular one, it's a 0.2. So it's a very small needle. So you just thread that in, lock it down. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much my spew on airbrushes on the different types. My reason why I like this better, these still work great. I've used this one for a long time. It's a great workhorse. I just don't have a hose fitting for it, so I gotta get one of those yet. So other than that, so we're gonna do real quick, take you over to the paint booth, just do a real quick kind of run by on how easy these are to use and spray, and then we'll wrap it up from there. So let's go to the booth real quick and just take a quick look at a couple quick test shots, and I'll show how easy and quick it is to clean one of these. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spray lacquer paint, just because it's quick and easy. Enamel, it's gonna spray the same thing. Now enamels, I do use hardener in it. It all cleans the same way. It doesn't matter if it's got hardener. Now hardener or any paint, you don't want to leave it in there. Once you're done painting, clean it. I mean, and I'll show you how quick it is to clean these. So like I said, we're gonna do some lacquer paint. We're gonna use this flat black because it's just sitting right here. And we're going to go from there. Actually, I might use this royal black because I think this is almost done with, and it's already pre-mixed for me. So we're going to use this, take it over to the paint booth, and let's check this out real quick. Okay, guys, so at the paint booth, another thing I didn't mention to you, and I didn't, if you guys are using MCW lacquers, like this guy here, and you have that style of pache or a bead with the jars, you have your top like this. I'm sure most people know, but you can actually take this off, and this threads right on here. How slick is that? And now you just got a pre-mixed jar, because MCW finishes, their lacquers are pre-mixed, ready to spray. Just thread that on and you're good to go. Very cool. Okay, guys, so we're going to start with this. We're just going to use a 0.0. So like I mentioned, you have your quick release here. I highly recommend these. You guys getting started in airbrushing. Very inexpensive. And this has a shut-off valve. So I was mentioning that MAC valve in the front. So you got air. So as I close this, see, it closes my air off. You can close it down to nothing. So if I hold that down, just to give you an idea, start opening it up, you got air. So like I said, I leave mine at full throttle, just give her the berries, call it good. Now before any spray I do, before I start with any spray, I always start it with thinner. Take a little pipette with a few drops of thinner, not a lot, just enough to put it in the cup, and I'll shoot it just to make sure it's spraying okay. 2 reasons I like doing this. One, I know it's going to spray okay, and I don't have paint in here to where it's like, oh, it's not spraying right. Well, now it's going to be hard because now I got to clean all the paint out and tear it down, versus this here. It's not spraying right. I'll just dump the rest out, and then it'll just evaporate, or I'm going to use it to clean anyway, so it don't matter. And 2, it kind of flushes the brush out, just in case there's a little bit of something in there from if I didn't quite clean it out as good. So that's what I always start with, is that. My average air pressure for you, if you're wondering, is usually in between 18 and 20 psi. Usually 18, I leave it at that at all times. So before we always start, I always recommend you guys always get a nice respirator. I don't care how goofy you think you look or whatever, but trust me, it's well worth it. Save your lungs. I've been down this road. I deal with it every day. I'll tell you the story sometime later in life. But yeah, so we get a nice respirator with charcoal replaceable filters. As you can see, these are getting ready to be replaced. You can see how much those have sucked in paint. So this is in here, not in my lungs. So these are well worth it. These are very inexpensive. You can get them anywhere. I've had this mask forever, and I got 2 more new ones over there. Other than that, gloves, rubber gloves. This isn't a must, but this is something I like to do. So rubber gloves, you can buy them anywhere, most places anyways. So I always glove my hand that I'm holding apart. My airbrush hand, I don't glove that one, just this one. So you can get a box of 100, so you can shoot 50 models with it. Now when I do a glove, I don't usually handle the model with a glove on. A couple reasons. Sometimes gloves have powder on them, which obviously you guys know not to buy with powder. Or they may have some kind of silicone or some kind of grease on or something that you really can't see, just so they don't stick to each other. You get that on the plastic on the model, and it may give you a little bit of fisheye type result, which you definitely don't want. So other than that, if you want to handle the model, the actual plastic itself, I recommend like a cotton glove, some kind of even like those brown jersey gloves or something like that, just some like a cloth glove. So like I said, we're going to do a quick shoot with this. So we got a little thinner in there. I'm just going to leave it in there just because I don't know how good my other paint's mixed. So we're going to just use some Tamiya. This is rubber black. We're going to just dump a little bit in this airbrush. And normally I don't just dump it in out of the jar, but this is almost empty. And it's just for quick test purpose. So when you get your airbrush, it's going to be pretty much just like this out of the box. You're going to want to open this up, pull that back a little bit, put your air on it, and you're ready to go pretty much. So we're going to put just a little bit of paint in there, like so. So we got our paint in there, and this is pre-mixed. So what I like to do is use spoons, just plastic spoons. I buy the cheapies at $1 at the like whatever grocery store, just the cheapest ones you can get. I'm going to leave the airbrush out, or the paint booth off, so just so you can hear me, but we're only going to do a little bit, so it's not going to affect us too much. So I use a test spoon just to make sure it's spraying okay. So like say you got air first, you pull it back, and you got paint. The more I pull it back, the more paint I get. So the nice thing about using a spoon, the plus about this is, I know it's spraying okay. The color's spraying nice. It's not too runny. It's not, you know, too thick and all that kind of stuff. So another couple things here. If you're airbrushing and it's coming out and it looks blotchy, like you got it pulled all the way back and it's barely coming out and it's kind of got speckles, that means you don't have it thinned down enough. It's too thick. So you want to add a little more thinner to it. And I usually use the pipettes. And at that point you want to take and just put just a couple drips in it. And then I take this here and I'll work it back and forth to get it in there. And you're good to go. Now if you spray in it and it's way too watery, that means you got it mixed too thin. So if you're going on and you can see it starting to pool up around the corners, the paint is, you have too much thinner in it. So most paints on average are a 50-50 mix or a 1-to-1. And that's usually what I stick with. And that works pretty good. So we're going to go through and just, you can kind of go through, paint it. And like I say, this, you don't want to like, rush it through. Just take your time with it. And you, as like I say, as you go back, and that's why I like the dual action, because I can hit air, and I slowly bring it back and bring the paint in real easy, or I can go full throttle with it. And you want to keep a little distance, and this is a learning thing. This is something you'll learn as you go. So you can see how nice that'll paint. And like I say, the nice thing about these over a can is you have more control over it. There's a lot more control to this. So that obviously sprays out pretty nice. So cleanup is really easy on this, guys. First thing I'll do, so a lot of times I get done with the paint, I'll have this much left. Now this one here, this jar is pre-mixed. So I'm just going to dump it back in a jar, but most times I'll just dump it and just dump it out. I got a garbage can below me here that has, I got a bunch of towels in there so it absorbs anything I dump in there. So it's pretty simple. So you can see I got a little paint left in there. So what I'll do now is I'll clean it out with the gun and I spray it right into the filter of my booth until it's all out of there. So I'm showing you how quick and easy this is. So now there's nobody there, nobody home. Take a little bit of thinner on a pipette. Throw a little bit in there, not a lot, just enough to get in there, and I'll run this through it. Now you're spraying thinner. I keep a junk paintbrush in here. Now let's take this in here and I'll just walk it around. Use a thinner that's in the cup. Just do a real quick clean, back and forth. And I like the paintbrush with long bristles so I can get in there and wipe that needle a little bit. Now I can work it back and forth a little bit like that. Now I'll go through the front and just give it a little clean on the edge. Like so. Clean it out. I'll take and dump this. Now you can see how clean that cup is getting. Once again, I cycle it through. And I'll give it one more shot of thinner. And you can see the thinner is pretty clean. So I'll move it around a little bit. It's pretty nice. It's pretty clean. That's all I do to clean these guys. That's it. Now if I stick this back in here, it's going to cloud it up because there's a little black paint left on this. So I'll give it one more clean. So I noticed when I dumped it, it dumped down the side. So I'll just take the brush, wipe that off. Simple as that. I'll hit this one more time. Make sure it's clean. Little shot. I dump this one more time. Clear it out. And then the final step, I give it just a couple drops. I'll hit it once, make sure it's got clean coming out of it. And I leave a couple drops in there. And I put it away. And that's it, guys. That's all there is to it. Now that airbrush is ready to go for the next hit. So there you have it, guys. That's my little spiel on airbrushing. Like I say, get them out of the box. Get using them. And you can see how quick and easy it is. Once you learn these, they're very simple, very easy. I don't know if I'd ever go back to can, because the nice thing about these are enamels, and you don't have to use enamel. I just like enamels because the nice thing about these, especially the model car world paints, you can get pretty much any automotive color you want. It's all there. Like I say, these will take maybe a couple more applications to clean because they'll get in there a little more. And certain other colors of lacquers will be the same way. So if you did the little swoosh just like I did, like there's still some in there, well, hit it again. I mean, just make sure you cycle it all out of there before you put thinner in there and clean it out. And get a nice airbrush cleaner, or if you find a nice lacquer that works good for you. The mr.color thinner works really good because it works on pretty much anything. This is a little pricier, but you know, this is usually what I use for cleaning my airbrush. Yeah, I know there's cheaper things out there, I get it. But just to me, it's the most convenient, and it doesn't take much to clean it as long as you keep it somewhat clean. Before the previous video I showed you a little bit ago, that's how it works out. But now this airbrush here, you can see it's already starting to stick already because that valve's getting bad. So what happens with this here, it's getting wore out. So paint will do is it'll back feed into here because it's getting wore out already, because I use this a lot. So it's getting wore out here. So you can see already black paint is coming in here. So what's happening is paint will go in, and it'll get down into the valve, and it'll quit working. So I have to take the bottom of this out, put a little oil in there, it'll work again. So this one I'm probably gonna have to retire it here pretty soon. And I'll probably just go on Amazon and get another cheap one, or maybe up one, and I might look into a Galleria this time, because I want one with a trigger on it. I've been talking to guys on a lot of guys with YouTube channels that sell them or that promote them. You guys have been telling me how wonderful they are, so I may be looking to that as my next purchase on one. But yeah, so like I say, guys, get them out of the box. I just showed you how easy and simple they are to tear down. It's just a quick, like I say, throw some thinner in a cup, throw the parts in the thing, take like that brush, swoosh them around, clean them up, and the stuff cleans up super easy, and everything looks great when it's done. So yeah, so get those brushes out, guys, and get using them. So that is my take on it. Appreciate you guys checking out the channel, following along in this little video here, and have fun with it. And like I say, just it's trial and error. Get yourself some junk car bodies, practice on those first. Don't use my holy grail kit. I want to paint this thing. No, don't start with that. This is a learning curve. It's not like aerosol, like, yeah, you paint it. You got to take your time, and it'll turn out nice. And I recommend doing colors. This is where the leveling thinner comes in, because it'll actually give you more time for it to cure. That way you don't get those flat, dry, hazy spots on there. And don't be afraid to put it on heavy. I put it on pretty heavy. I'm a heavy paint, not the way it fills in body lines, but I don't do to where just a few passes. I don't paint like that. I find if you put on heavier, it comes out better. You get way better shine. it looks beautiful. So, and obviously the airbrush works with acrylics, lacquers, enamels, whatever you're doing, nail polish, I guess everything works in them. Just got to thin it right, and that's it. So cleanup's easy, the use is easy, it's easy. So once again, guys, I appreciate you watching. Shoot me some questions below if you guys have any comments on anything, and we'll go from there. So you guys have a good one and appreciate it. We'll see you next time.